Now, in a country that has never seen a female president and only once has had a female head of a political party, how keen are voters to see a female black Asian president? We're talking about United States, in case you were wondering. It's going to be a week since election results in Venezuela, and the unrest is only getting worse. The opposition leader is currently in hiding, and people from across the country are set to hit the streets. It is widely known that in the 200 years of election history, United States has never had a female president. In fact, till 2016, no major political party has ever had a female nominee. Hillary Clinton changed that. 2024 is on path to see a contest between a man and a woman for only the second time in US history. So tonight, we look at the US battle of sexes. Since Kamala Harris has entered the race, she has managed to close the gap in opinion polls. In some key states, she has even managed to leave Donald Trump behind. And that brings us to our focus, the gender divide. That has also widened in the last couple of weeks. To show you how swiftly male and female voters have shifted in a matter of days, let me get you a few polls. On your screens, by me is a poll by YouGov. Harris leads by 11 points among women, 51% to 40%. But Trump holds an even more dominant 18-point lead among men, 54% to 36%. And these numbers are testament that the gender divide is widening because Harris is faring better than Biden among women, but also because she is doing worse among men. Here's another poll. This one is by Times in Siena. It paints a similar picture with Kamala Harris leading by 14 points among female voters, but the numbers are grim again among the male voters. There is a 17-point difference. And this raises an important question. Is the United States ready for a female president? We are comparing two polls here, one from 2015 and another from this year. Unfortunately, there has been a sharp decline in people who think US is ready for a female president. It seems like the Republicans are playing on this narrative. In the past weeks, the Trump campaign has called Harris quote-unquote weak. Trump has also said that Harris will be reduced to a quote-unquote play toy by foreign enemies if she is elected. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, has called women who choose not to have children as, I'm quoting again, childless cat ladies who make the country miserable. One can term this misogynistic, but it is working among Americans. All right, to take this story further, we are being joined by John Potts from Boston. He's a professor of political science at Northeastern University. Professor Potts, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Let me start with this. It's, often said that a week is a long time in politics. So if last week was about the aftermath of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump and Kamala Harris joining the race, this week we have been tracking a lot of polls coming in about how the November 5th day might look like. So let me ask you this. What is your assessment? How are you seeing these two campaigns at this moment?
I think in the polls, as you point out, definitely some shifting happening, even in the battleground states, which I think are the most critical ones, as opposed to the national poll. So I can see Kamala Harris is catching Trump in some that Biden was behind in. Several of them, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Harris seems to be pulling ahead. So you're absolutely right. A week can be things can change quickly in a week, and they have.
Absolutely. Professor Potts, we have been also tracking one poll that talks about the gender divide, especially something that has widened since Kamala Harris has joined the race. In fact, if I could give you some numbers, a few of the polls by Ipsos, Reuters, as well as the Times are suggesting that while female voters are more inclined towards Kamala Harris, we're also seeing that the male voters are more inclined towards Donald Trump. I want to ask you, why do you think that's the case?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, that was somewhat true even before. I mean, the male vote was more towards Trump, and the female vote, particularly African-American, black females, were much more supportive of the Democrat, even Biden, And now I think that's going to happen even more, certainly with a female, black female as the Democratic nominee. So I don't know. I think there's been Trump has always, and Republicans in general, but Trump in particular has tried to present a tough image at times. And I think that appeals more to male voters. Democrats, more concerned about trying to make sure that people have the resources they need, kind of helping all the people in the population, broadly speaking, and I think that appeals more to female voters.
Right. Professor Potts, I also have another poll. I know I'm talking a lot about the polls, but that's all we have been tracking this week. There's one poll, in fact, from 2015 and another one that's done this year. I will not tell you the results as yet because I want to understand where you are coming from. But the question there was, is the United States ready for a female president? What do you think?
Well, I think so. I mean, I'm cautious with that statement. I mean, recognize Hillary Clinton. She lost the election, but she actually won the popular vote. She lost in the Electoral College. So, 2016, I think people were ready. It just didn't play out that way in the dynamics of the Electoral College. So I think it can certainly happen. And there's certainly a lot of energy with the Democrats now, kind of moving from Biden to Kamala Harris is quite a bit of energy. So we will see, but I think it can happen. I don't know what the polls say.
Let me tell you what the poll says. In 2015, about 63% of the voters were more inclined towards a female president. They thought that the US was ready, but now it has slid to in 55-56%. So there has been a slide there, but let's see, as you said, what happens in November. Thank you so much for joining us here on WION, Professor Potts, and getting us your insights.
Okay, thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.